Hello and welcome to Sterling Armory's Sword Talk. This is episode 30 something, 37, I think. If you're new to the channel, we are a bunch of sword makers who like to get together, and we have a podcast here called Sword Talk, where we drink some drink and talk about all sorts of sword topics, everything ranging from martial arts to making of swords to fantasy and historical sword movies, all sorts of things. Basically, everything sword related. Hopefully today will be a fun one. Let me bring on the team real quick.
Hello.
So,
Hey.
you guys want to do a quick intro? But before you guys do that, I'm having some weird computer issues. So hopefully, by the time we record this and it drops, those issues aren't coming through. But if everything seems a little choppy, especially the visuals, that's due to my whatever's happening right now. Hopefully it doesn't follow through, but we'll see. Josh, you want to start?
Hello, I'm Joshua Von Warbear, and you can find me on Facebook at Joshua Von Warbear or on Instagram at Warbear_Armory. I do concept art, I do blade making, sword making, a lot of hilt work, a lot of leather work, some woodwork, a little bit of everything.
Nice. I'm Colton of Copperthorn Customs. You can find me Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all under Copperthorn Customs. Mostly just do swords, maybe a little leather on the side. But yeah,
You're getting good,
just
man.
always
Howdy.
making something.
Hell
Yep.
yeah.
And I'm Chris. You can find all of us at Sterling Armory on Facebook. And we thought we had a website going, but we're still working on it. So eventually we will have a website. But Sterling Armory on Facebook is mostly where we're at. And then Instagram as well. And then here. If you're watching us, obviously you found us here. So today's topic, we're going to dive into kind of the maker space side of the house for a little bit. Because I had a question for these guys. And I was thinking about it. So on a couple of the Facebook groups, I forgot drinks. What we drink today. Before we go into our topic, we usually talk about drinks, and I totally forgot. So let me backtrack. I'll start because I forgot. So my drink, and I got my nice Sterling Armory glass here. But I am drinking. I'm fancy tonight. I got my
you are.
I have a wine from my favorite winery, the Biltmore Estate up in North Carolina.
That looks delicious.
Yeah, that looks great.
It looks good. Josh, what are you drinking?
What you got, Josh?
Well, I'm drinking a Monster because
it's only 5:30 where you are.
I'm very tired. I've been tired the past few days. I buzzed my beard off this weekend, and like Samson, it's like drained everything out of me, and I'm just dead on my feet. I'm so tired. I haven't been back to the gym to work out. I've got nothing left. So if I drink alcohol, I'll just like slowly face plant into the keyboard.
So we didn't say anything about the beard. So
a steady diet of power. Say what?
We didn't say anything about the beard, so you should be thankful.
Yeah.
I almost made a fake one out of just
Yeah,
like
you should have.
tied it around.
Awesome.
I have a Dirty Dr. Pepper, coconut rum, and Dr. Pepper going on. So
Nice.
Dirty Dr. Pepper sounds like a sex position.
It does.
And I'm not
Take
I'm
it
not,
as you
not a
will.
fan. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it is, but cool.
Yo,
Try everything twice.
So then, sorry about that. Back to the topic we were going to talk about. On a bunch of the Facebook sword groups that are out there, so Real Swords, Sword Buyer's Guide, All Swords. Who am I missing? I know I'm missing a lot.
no idea.
There's a bunch of them.
Yeah.
A couple guys have been posting their designs. So they've been sketching up sword designs. Some of them have been very cool. Some of them are definitely not functional. So, but that made me start thinking, so I've been making blades since 1994, 95, no, 96. So I've been making blades since around 1996. So it's been a while. And my thought process on sword design has definitely evolved, especially, over the last, highly evolved over the last about 15-ish years when I started going to museums and seeing original pieces and stuff. So I was wondering for these guys, so for Josh and Colton, in the last couple of years, how has your ideas and thoughts on sword design kind of changed or evolved? Colton, you're obviously a bit newer to it, but Josh has been doing it for a while, and it's kind of curious. So we were going to dive into the makerspace point of view and talk about all things sword design. So hopefully that's interesting. Hopefully we can keep it interesting.
Yeah.
But I guess first question is, first started making swords. Obviously, you had some sort of design in your mind. So, what are the biggest changes that you've had in terms of, how do you approach a design to start with, compared to when you first started?
That is so. I mean, I guess when I first started, I just had no clue what I was doing. So I didn't really have much of a design. It was basically like, hey, I'm thinking one of my very early swords was I essentially took Narsil, Glamdring, and one of the Ring Wraith swords and just like mashed them all together. So it has that like clipped out blade with kind of the Glamdring scalloped ricasso and then more of a hilt like Narsil, all put onto a big sword. And I'm just like, this is really sweet. Probably wouldn't make something like that again. It was kind of just a weird hodgepodge because Lord of the Rings, obviously, if you're here on our 37th episode, I'm a very big fan of Lord of the Rings swords, as we all are. But
as we are.
Yeah, so like a lot of my sword designs, especially earlier on, are heavily influenced by fantasy movies, specifically Lord of the Rings stuff. And I'm not going to say that that's still not a huge inspiration for what I'm making, because I just love the aesthetic of everything they did for that. So that still kind of falls into a lot of my stuff, but I've definitely veered more in this historical accuracy, getting involved with fantasy realm, and I'm kind of walking that line a bit. And I go back and forth. My earlier stuff was all in the fantasy realm, and now I've kind of got this, like, I do a couple more historical, and then I'll go back and kind of more fantasy, and I'm kind of where I'm at with like just overall design of stuff, I guess.
Do you find that there is a pretty clear distinction there? So you can go, okay, this one's going to be historical, or this is going to be a fun, but nowhere near historical design.
Definitely. Well, I mean, like that one that I did not too long ago that had like kind of like all the cracks down the blade and up the hilt and what's not, like that was totally fantasy. And
it sold right away.
It sold immediately. First thing I got it to. But it's I still really try to keep in mind how a sword should perform even in my fantasy stuff. So like the weight was good, balance was good. It felt right when you held it, but it was a blade shape that probably isn't super effective for I don't know, like it works really well, but like it's definitely more in the fantasy realm, and that one was fully intended to be, whereas like a couple of my more recent ones have been far more leaning into this historical realm with kind of my own flair on it. So
yeah, and that's kind of what I'm going to do with the Siri blade, right? And the nice thing is that fantasy design was already somewhat historically based. But yeah, it's definitely fantasy going into it. So
yeah,
cool. Josh, you look bored over there.
Yeah, he is. He doesn't want to hear me talk.
Just so sleepy.
Speaking of fantasy,
I'm not bored. I don't have a beard that makes me look enthusiastic about anything. They were accusing me at work of being uninterested and just apathetic in general. They're like, they're like, you look dead-eyed. Like, and I was like, I think I have a beard, so I don't have to emote.
Going, fair enough.
Which looks great if you have a mustache. Not so much.
Yeah.
Like weird little lip things and shit. Stupid. That's my beard.
So, Chris's same question over to Josh. What you got?
Yeah. Chris has an intimate knowledge of this because I basically came up with Chris as far as like my whole indoctrination in the sword making process. And when I first started, like I was like Chris was very tolerant of my stupidity or just ignorance because I came from a very comic book, video game, anime love of swords, very fantasy. So a lot of my ideas were like, it's a curved blade, it's 5 feet long and 5 inches wide, and then tapers all the way out and has a reverse like curved grip and a big hook for like, And while it looked great on paper, it was just, Chris would always be like, "Look at him, good luck." Like, and I didn't get it at the time. I didn't understand why. I was just like, maybe he doesn't like the design. And then as I started making, I started realizing it's not so much that, so much as like it represents quite a damn challenge to build something. The more intricate, the more weird, the more outlandish, the more fantasy, the more like tool presets and skills you have to adopt to make that a reality. And then you get it, and a lot of the time it doesn't behave like you think a sword would, because in anime and video games you have a bodybuilder or a child that's like 13 years old but has the strength of 50 men wielding this giant chunk of steel. It's not until you build that massive sword that you're like, ow, this hurts a lot, and it sucked to make it because so that. And it's funny because I even sent Chris an old picture that I sent him through email from our burner account. I would just make up these stupid designs that had like a fuller, and then like the middle fuller was like a dick with balls, and like it would say it had a rhino horn grip and a gold cross guard and like all these things. And then the tip had to be like perfectly beveled to use as a shovel too. And it was like a 10-inch, like a 10-inch width to the sword. And I'd send it to him and tell him he has to make this, or I'm interested in commissioning that, or this and this, or and we had a good laugh about it after after the fact. But that was to the extreme of what we're discussing. Right before that, pulling it back, as I started making stuff, I started going like, historical proportions, those are so much more realistic and easy to do. So I still love, obviously, Jagundus absurd sword designs. I just that executioner blade, the wrist breaker. Oh, well, that popped on
3,000, man.
Yeah, man, that popped on Reddit, and someone was like, someone had an actual Cloudbuster, fully functional. And then it's funny because you split into two different groups. You split into like, yeah, it was so freaking awesome, I loved it, and it is so unwieldy and stupid. Like, and those guys are separated. You know what I mean? Which I think is funny. But yeah, my style of design has changed over the years to much more conservative and realistic proportions. And I still try and adopt, much like you were saying, a fantasy aspect or twist on something with historical, realistic proportions, that you can hold it and go, cool, this represents historical fantasy in my brain. It's the fantasy aspect. It doesn't exist anywhere. There's no precursor to it. It has some elements of something that did exist forever ago, and yet you can still wield it, and it feels like a very comfortable weapon in your hands.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, you nail that. Like whenever I get a chance to hold one of your things, like they're just freaking awesome. They have such an aesthetic to them. Sorry, I don't know. I always just love. I mean, honestly, both of you guys. I show up to the booth like,
keep going, man. I appreciate it. I don't mean to make fun. There's nothing that feels better to me than a very respected peer paying me a compliment or just saying, I love your stuff, man. It's awesome. I'm one of your biggest fans and friends. Like, and obviously the same to both of you from my heart as well.
Well, and you can 100% see both of at least I think I can see it. Both of your guys' work influencing mine so heavily. Like,
sure.
Because like I learned from both of you guys, and like I have channeled both of your energies kind of into like my stuff. So I'm like, I don't know,
Yeah.
I'll be like, hey, this technique was freaking awesome that Warbear tried on that, and then that grind that Chris did on that blade. And I'm like, I want to try that, and then it kind of joins up together. So, like,
Yeah, likewise.
you can.
That's a very valid thought. Like you're just saying, like I've got mine that was very fantasy inspired in this, and then over time you can see Chris really fusing with my work and going, bring it back to something we can actually make and that is theoretically possible and also has those comfortable proportions. So yeah, we all blend into each other's work. You know.
Yeah, well, and I'd say it's a fantastic combination of
Absolutely
whatever's happening. Like it just works really well, and
Yeah,
hopefully it's not just me that thinks that, or us three that think that.
I know. Well, it doesn't seem to be.
That's all that matters to me anyway. Like I'm glad other people think it, but as long as I think our stuff is cool,
Like,
I'm good.
we're just doing what we love here. So
Yeah.
It's like we're saying before, we only really make swords for us. So as long as we think they look good, then awesome.
yeah.
If you happen to agree, then and want to buy it,
Fantastic.
cool. If not, I'm more than happy to keep my gear and play with it and look at it on the shelf.
Yeah.
One thing you mentioned, and so when, like probably about 15-ish years ago, when I really started trying to make stuff more historical, my initial thoughts at that point were, and not that I thought or was trying to do this on purpose, but everything I was making was very plain.
Yeah.
So like no detailed guards at all, no pommels, but I was just emulating pieces that I had studied. And also I didn't have the ability to put in the small details at the time. And so I guess in the last like 5-ish years, that's really where my design kind of philosophy has changed, where if you see the blade from a 20-foot view, it looks like a plain sword. But when you get close to it, all those small details start popping out that I didn't used to be able to do before.
Right.
And so that's been cool. That's kind of been what I've been focusing on, like trying to get small details to really make each piece individual and unique.
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely makes everything a bit more complex, even for the smallest details.
Right.
So, yeah, it's been cool, and Colton's already doing that, if not beyond what I can do on the small details. Which has been fun to watch.
Absolutely, man. He's the golden child as far as I'm concerned.
I get lost in details. I freaking love it, and I don't know. I'll end up being like, damn it, I spent like 19 more hours on that than I meant to.
Yep.
Whatever, I guess.
That's where the good stuff comes from. Like you're saying, adding to what you're saying, Chris, like there was a time when all the swords I were doing were very uniform because I had gotten comfortable with how to do that method and I didn't want to try anything else. So I didn't progress.
Yeah, same.
I just got decent or good at what I knew I could do and didn't want to try anything else. But the moment I took myself out of my comfort zone and started trying different techniques and building skill set towards that, they really started to pop and become way more alive, more detailed. And that's what made all the difference in the aesthetic, Well, and Colton's honed in on that. And it's what you do. You go, wow, this is looking really good as you're making it. And then you just spend more time on it because you're like, I could do this could go. And you really get lost in the process of making it. And before you know it, you spent way too much time on a sword you intended to sell eventually for a reachable price.
Yeah.
But then you're like, I'm really in love with this and that process, falling in love with that process, and then being able to separate, being able to sell that piece and then still retain making that was a lot of fun. I hope they enjoyed that piece.
Yeah, genuinely, like that is the end goal. Like, so I kind of tend to push myself into I try to do at least some kind of new thing on everything, and it could be super simple of just instead of this thickness cord wrap on my leather, I do a smaller one. Right. And just something super small. I'm just gonna try something new on everything, and it kind of just keeps expanding of oh, I actually really liked that, or nah, I didn't like it as much, but we'll keep doing it. We'll go back to I don't know. Yeah, it's just always I lost where I was going.
Blue screen.
I can tell. I totally blue screen. So
That dirty Dr. Pepper, it'll get you.
Yeah.
well,
So
I don't know if you can tell. I
Oh
kind of
my God.
thought the rum went to the bottom. Because the first part didn't seem like it had much, but
Wasn't that full like 30 minutes ago?
it was full an hour and 10 minutes ago. So
has it been that long? Yeah. I guess. So when I started making blades, I was still heavily into the Chinese martial arts, and so a lot of where I thought I was going to be going with blade making was like Chinese blades and a lot of those designs. But then the more and more I started making blades, the more I really loved medieval blades, and I kept going back to those. And so those I haven't made a Chinese blade in many years now.
Yeah.
But so do you guys have any, or has your I guess has your thoughts on your favorite types of blades changed since you started making them? Just because you like making other types of blades?
Mine has, for sure.
I know. Yeah, I remember what you started with. So
Very, very Japanese, very Middle Eastern, very Chinese.
same as me.
Yep, and I still love a really good broad single-edged sword like a falchion or two-handed French falchion. The Chinese jian, the double edge, I love that one as well. And I've made some inspired jian-inspired fantasy like elvish jians, and then sold those. And I really love doing them and intend to make more. But I keep coming back to that cruciform hand and a half to two-hander.
Yeah, same.
Something about that design that just really grabs me and makes me want to handle it, twirl it around and go, oh, that feels so good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Trying to see. I don't think I have it here. I thought I had it here, but I do have it. So one of the other things I also started, so when I probably in early or like 2003, 2004, I started really getting into long swords. But I liked long swords that had complex guards. And I thought I was going to be doing a lot of those. So here's one I did, I think this was 2000. No, this is actually before. This is probably 1998, 99. Because I was still in high school when I did this. But I thought that I was going to be doing a lot of these. And I think I only did one or two after this. And I don't know why, but I just kept going back. And I was thinking maybe it's because these are harder to do, but no, that's not really the case. I just liked, the more cruciform style ones as opposed to the complex guard ones. So, but I have been thinking about these lately, so I might dive back into some of these.
So, I mean, it's funny you say that because I actually have a single ring that I'm starting on. It's in this new sword batch, so I'm going to try one out. I've never done one before, so it's just like, I'm going to try one. We'll see what happens with it.
Yeah, so, long sword or arming sword?
Long sword.
Awesome. That'll be cool to see.
Yeah, it should be cool. I've got some fun ideas for it. Whatever it turns out to be, it'll be awesome. I haven't decided if it's going to go on to like a hand and a half or like a full long sword yet, but one of those two will get one.
Speaking of complex guards, there was a point where I really wanted to jump on doing a swept hilt rapier. Because I've always had a love of small swords and swept hilts.
Did you watch me going through that trial?
And then I watched you do your musketeer one, and I was like, well, shit on that. I don't really want to do that anymore. Like, plus, at the time I'd had problems grinding out broader blades, so I knew wasn't enough material to work with for that. So I still like doing the guards as far as like, yep, exactly. Yeah,
I will say though,
cup hilt rapier.
This guy was fun though. The rapier itself was not fun. I think I've told that story before, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. This though was quite fun, and this is all me. Whereas the rapier blade is actually an old Hanwei because that's what we were required to use at that time. So the dagger part was fun. So this rapier was. But yeah, they're hard. They're definitely hard, but
worth it in the end.
Yeah, especially for making it for yourself.
I'm actually like extremely drawn into doing some stuff like that, and I have done a few for myself, like a couple of saber type blades with a big complex guard, a couple rapiers. I'm not really set up to do it anymore, but that's definitely something I want to get back into. And that was perfect sound.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So hopefully, I don't know. I've got a lot of stuff that I would definitely be moving into in the future at some point here. I think my bread and butter is still just going to be cruciform, hand and a half, longsword type stuff. Like I just
Daggers.
freaking love it.
Yeah,
daggers are awesome. I actually really, really enjoy doing daggers because I can get some ideas down that I wanted to try, but it's a lot smaller grinding on the blade.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
like, how is this gonna look? So I'll grind out a dagger blade, put one of those together. I'm like, this is really cool. I need to translate this to a sword now.
Same. Yeah. That's in a nutshell exactly that. It's a condensed version of the experience of making a cruciform longsword, condensed in a miniature amount of time to where you're like 4 hours, 5 hours later, you're like, that's a sweet dagger I've got now. I like that a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got a bunch of daggers. I gotta get good blades. I gotta get going on because blades keep coming in heat treated, and I haven't ground them all yet. So I got a lot of catching up to do there.
Building the stock up.
Yep.
Yeah. One of the other things I used to do a lot is, it's funny because if you look behind me at the current available stock there, they're almost all wheel pommels, right? And so there was a time where all I did was wheel pommels because it's what I liked. But there is one there that's a scent stopper. So I have been branching out and doing a lot more different pommel designs, especially on longswords. So that's another thing I've been changing lately. So I've been doing a lot of fishtails or, fishtail-ish and scent stopper-ish designs. So that's another kind of design idea change that I've had lately. Just trying to get away from too many wheel pommels.
Very much the same with me. I'm in the midst of that transition right now to where wheel pommels really spoke to me. I'm still set in them like fish
That's still my favorite.
They're still my favorite, and I wasn't really partial to scent stopper or casket pommels until I saw the Albion Mercenary and the Valiant Talbot, and I was like, okay. And then I looked on Kyra Morin's website and saw his scent stopper pommel, and I was like,
is that a sense? Does he have a scent stopper, or is it one of the?
He's got a few different ones, but there's one that's a scent stopper. I think the Geralt of Rivia steel sword has a scent stopper pommel for its normal.
So it's not a Witcher like animal pommel or anything.
No. That one's he does have several different designs. Also, shout out to that guy.
He's awesome.
He is amazing. Just all the swords. Chad asked me, Healy was like, dude, what's your favorite Kyra Morin sword? And I was like, it's so hard. There's so many of them.
It's a lot of good ones.
Like I'd have to pick my favorite 2 steels and my favorite 2 silvers. And then they're in the lead by this much from all the other ones because all the other ones are so good.
Yeah. I was hoping. Actually, you got that one right.
I did. Yeah.
So Kyle was alien to Kyle. Shout out to him too. He was talking about buying that sword on Matt Jensen's live video, and I was like, "You can't buy it. Josh already got it." So
funny you mentioned.
You already bought
it. The minute I pulled the trigger, he messaged me on Facebook Marketplace Facebook Messenger, and he was like, "Did you buy that Witcher sword?" And I was like, "Yep." You bastard! Also, thank you for keeping me from spending money.
Right.
Love-hate relationship. Ooh, Warbear, I love you.
Yeah.
Yes. And then
I just heard him talking about it when I was in the shop because I had the live going on my shop TV while I was working, and I heard him say it, and I was like, "That sword's not available anymore." So I went in and I was like, "Josh already got it."
Oh man, I didn't even hesitate. Like, done. I was like, oh, I've always wanted a Witcher
Yeah.
sword. And I saw it and I was like, that's a pretty good looking Witcher sword. And then I read it and I was like, oh shit, it's a Kyromoran. Okay, well,
Yeah.
I definitely don't have one of those and I have to have one, so I'll spend the money.
No,
I'm
because
hoping
like
he's able to get back to making, but I'm assuming if he does, he's going to be swamped for years.
Years, yeah. He'll likely have a backlog of people, trying to buy his stuff, especially nowadays.
Oh yeah, well, especially
everybody-
they showed up in season 2, right? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, season 2, yes. Yep.
yeah, they were in the castle, Karamor.
Right. Yeah.
Which was
Yeah.
awesome. I'm glad he was able to get those in there.
yeah, that's really cool.
But yeah, man, I'm looking at it right now. It is a beautiful sword. I'm actually
Which
this
one is it?
weekend. It's going to be a little cooler in Phoenix, allegedly. So I'm probably going to be making a scabbard for it this weekend.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Go
Go
grab
grab
it.
it.
Get it on screen. Let's see it.
Yeah, go grab it.
I would, but I'm not wearing pants.
Oh, that makes sense.
That's right. I like to squeeze off.
So, while he
Uh-oh.
tries to get off of screen,
It's the coming back on. That's you have to be careful with.
yeah. Let's see.
So yeah, so for pommel wise, I don't know. Do you have a set that you like?
Oh, crap.
I actually
Oh,
am
there we go.
the scent stopper or
that's
casket
nice.
pommel type of mindset. Not to say I don't have anything against wheel pommels, and I do quite a few of them. Also, Irish rings, I guess. Those definitely speak to me a lot. So I end up doing a lot of those.
I'm actually gonna talk. So on the next or the last Oakshot video I'm putting out, should air after this, assuming
Nice.
this records okay.
Make him bigger.
Oh.
Enhance.
So,
Oh,
Right.
that is hot, man.
yeah. So is that bronze wire?
Yes.
So
Awesome.
bronze wire.
So I know the pommel is cast or 3D printed. Is the guard also printed?
I'm not sure. Like looking at it, obviously I wouldn't be able to find any seam marks because he would have polished all those up.
Right, especially if it's printed.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, it'd be worth asking.
If he did, it's indistinguishable with just looking at it without answers. Like you could tell me it was cast, or you could tell me it was just heated up and twisted and forged out, and both are very believable.
Does it have a good sound on it?
Oh yeah.
Click it higher. Come on.
There we go. It's like a bell.
There we go.
Those fullers look pretty darn straight.
Yeah, they do. They looked really
Yeah.
good.
That's pretty awesome.
All
So that
the way
guard shape
in. Holy
is really tough because can you pull up to the guard again? So because the twisting goes to where the guard starts widening up,
Yeah.
that's a really hard to keep that smooth and consistent. So he's doing a good
Because
job.
the
with that.
heat transfer, yeah.
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 No, that is
That's why-
nuts, man.
That's one reason why I wonder if it's printed or not. Because it might be.
So, but yeah, this is so it's the Geralt of Rivia steel, but with a Mastercraft pommel.
Okay.
So switched out, but I still
Oh,
love
cool.
it.
Is it peened or
It's
does it
painted over,
open?
yeah. Mhm.
Awesome.
That's very
Alrighty.
clean.
That's a
That's a
huge
clean
He
peen.
has kept his peen clean.
Woo!
That's a clean, huge peen. That thing's massive.
Yeah, that's quite a large clean peen. One of the cleanest I've ever seen. Put it next to me. Yeah, I'm going to be making a scabbard for that bad boy this weekend, I think.
That'll be
Awesome.
sweet.
What are you gonna do for the scabbard?
I am thinking black and steel fittings, which I know that's not like me at all.
No.
But I think it would fit the sword very well. I don't think
Black?
there's any wrong answers. Just like when any of you guys or in the group chat where we're like, "What do you think about me doing this?" I'm really having a hard time, and we're like, "No wrong answers, man. It's going to look good regardless." So,
Yep.
yeah.
I do think brown with that bronze wire wrap.
Black. Say
I was
what?
actually going to say that too. Like brown with bronze would match that sword. You've got a bronze wrap. Like
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No wrong answers, man. Like,
Yeah.
brown with steel fittings might look good too. Just to
be.
break up, you know.
Yep. Yeah, like a dark brown, I think would be good.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, it's gonna be hot, and I can't wait to work on it.
Yeah, going back to the Irish rings, though. Yeah, that's also one of my favorites as well, pommel design wise. But yeah, I have our last oak shot video will be dropping after this, assuming the recording comes out okay. But yeah, he surprisingly Oakshot just ignores that whole sword family, and I don't know why he does. But I'll talk about that in that video when coming up.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of Irish ring pommels out there in the medieval times. So
yeah, they just look so cool. Like
yeah, I think so too. And they sell quickly. Those are always the first blades to sell.
Everybody loves them. Like they're just so cool. I'm gonna say that the Mountains Irish ring in Game of Thrones, man, that one is just like solidifies the like gloriness of an Irish ring sword.
Yeah, it was frigging awesome. Season 3, I think that was, or 4. I think it was one of the first ones where it was Hafthor Bjornsson as the Mountain, and he was sparring against like I say he was sparring. He was just murdering slaves that were sent to the slaughter. And him holding that sword. I can't remember if he had the same Irish ring when it was the original actors.
I don't remember.
2 guys before Hafthor.
Yeah.
But the one he used to cut the horse's head off, I don't remember if that was the same sword or not.
I can't remember either, actually.
But I remember Hafthor using it and just like, just destroying.
Yeah, so cool.
Josh, did you get a chance to see that one in person?
I did not. I did see. Oh, it's funny you mentioned. Actually, I'll send you that picture right now. I did get to handle ice from.
I remember that
before it melted down.
Is it as big as it seems to be?
Yes, I will show you.
Okay. Good.
Oh. That's almost the size. So with an Irish pommel, that would be close to the Mountains one, right?
Probably close. I don't know, man. Mountain sword is gigundous.
Look at that beard.
It looks smaller. Oh, man. It looks smaller while I'm holding it than it does when I'm just holding it upright like that. When I'm just like plunking it down.
I think it's the beard. It makes a difference.
It's true. Plus, I was like probably 30 pounds lighter then. I was in a time of my life working in film, so it was feast or famine, and you didn't have time to eat, so you just keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was an experience right there.
I'm sitting here thinking back to our kind of like base topic here because it just kind of hit me of whenever I'm trying anything new of our expanding what we're trying to do because like I don't know how long ago it was now, a few months ago, and I did my first falchion, and like this is the exact same with every new thing I ever try. I'm just like, hey Chris, what should this weigh? What should this taper be? How should this handle? Like I've never made a falchion. Tell me all the things. And
right.
And like,
it came out perfect.
We'll just we'll stick to what Chris says because you've got that weight.
That's the one I bought, right? That's the one I bought from you. Right?
It is the one you bought from me.
Yeah, it came out perfect. I was like, I want that.
For me, I've been really lucky because I've never kept in mind like dimensions or any methods of like making the perfect sword as far as length goes, as far as weight goes, as far as anything. I've just been like aesthetically in my eye, this looks right.
That's what I love about you. Very, very different than my brain because you see things very artistically, and my brain goes to math and numbers immediately. So
totally, yeah.
So
I definitely count on you for that. When I'm like, I need to be checked. I'm like, I got to talk to Chris.
Yeah.
About that.
Well, then I can reach out and say, hey, does this look stupid or not?
It's all checks and balances, and us just being cool.
Yeah, we're basically like, Chris. How do we make this feel right? I've never made one of these before. And you always have like, I don't know, it's crazy, man. You've got that in your brain of all those things.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's okay to be obsessive over certain things.
Yeah, I mean, it's great for us. We can just be like,
yeah.
What do you think about this?
So I'm this weekend I'm shooting up to Chicago to the Art Institute to study some blades behind the scenes. So I'm really excited. They do have a couple pieces that are a bit fancy for medieval blades, and I don't know how close I'm going to get to them. I don't know if they're able to pull anything that I can study in person. I'm hoping they can. I sent them a few like, hey, and the guy, oh, I'm blanking on the name right now. I apologies. Hopefully they're not watching this. But we've been emailing back and forth, and actually thanks to Craig from Arms and Armor, he's the one who connected us. And so the museum curator he's been very gracious so far. And I said, I'm like, hey, here's a list of blades I'd like to see. Like just one of them would be great. And so I don't know. He made it sound like he'll pull some, but we'll see how the trip goes. But either way, I'll have lots of pictures of everything that I get to see, and we do get a behind-the-scenes tour, which will be great. But I'm excited to add more pictures to the historical sword collection that we have grown.
Yeah.
And if I can get more measurements and just more overall physical hands-on characteristics of blades, I can add that to the collection as well. And I'm actually thinking about making almost like a resource for all of that data. I think that'd be great to do, and currently I don't think it exists.
Huh.
So, yeah, because when you go to our typical books, like Oakshot's books or whatever, he doesn't go into the details that a maker would need, right? So, it might be cool to do something like that with a lot more detail. So,
that would be
from a maker's point of view,
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that really helps with overall sword design, right?
Oh, 100%.
So I definitely know, like, especially since Peter Johnson has been working with Albion, going all the way back to when that started, and then, Gus Trim and all of his designs as well, based off historical pieces, as far as overall characteristics, like sword design and throughout the whole industry, I think it's gotten a lot better in the last 10-ish year or 15-ish years on the European side. So it's been great to see that come up. But yeah, so it's just been good in general. So it'd be cool to add to it even more. There's still some blades that are mass manufactured that it's like, ugh, like why? So, I think that's always going to be the case. But
Sure,
the amount of better ones we have now overall is really good.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about prospect, and I know we're very specific makers and custom makers, but I am excited about a mass production series, and we've talked about this, of different types of daggers that I want to design, different types of swords that are like, if you really want a nice sword but you're on a budget, here's what we can offer you. Because that goes back into being a kid or a teenager and sketching stuff and just imagining that you would sketch this for a company and one day they'd want your design and you'd be able to Google it or a website or see people walking by wearing the thing, and just being that would give me quite a bit of happiness.
Same, yeah. We're it's kind of our forever quest is how can we get it produced affordable enough and have us be able to put out enough quantities of it and not get bored with it. So
and keep the quality where it's at. Like that's the trick.
Yeah. So we are chasing that down. So for those watching, who, especially our customers who bought blades from us and who's been asking us that question, will we do a production run at any point? There's the answer to that. We are thinking about it. We're just not there yet. So I also still very much like, and I think I always have it, where even if we do a production run of something, I think the majority of my work will still be individual pieces. Because I think that's more fun. But yeah, I agree, Josh. Like, it would be great to have something that anyone can get a hold of, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of our friends still do a lot of stage shows year round at these different fairs and reenactments and LARPs and all sorts of stuff. And, when there's young people entering in, they don't have a lot of money. So it'd be great to get something in their hands that, they can use and rely on.
And that's been like my Hanwei line of hilts that I do. Like I've been being really lazy about making blades just because it's so much easier to order a blade, and build a hilt for it. And that's kind of what I was doing with that is I'll get a Hanwei blade or blades and then make hilts that I really, really enjoy making as kind of like a practice run, and then make very simplistic ones for something I know that the reenactor or the medieval costume enthusiast at fairs would see and go, oh, this is still a really decent sword at
Yep.
half the cost, or a third of the cost.
Yeah, and it's been tough because we have to pay bills as well. So,
Of course, I didn't go into this thinking I was going to get rich off of it at all. I'm happy if I make ends meet, and I've got very low means to begin with. So I'm happy if I make ends meet and get to do what I want to do. That's really all I really give a shit about.
Yeah, same. So speaking of other sword design, so you had the Tinker stuff. Are you still able to get those?
Nope, I haven't seen them on market in like a year, or maybe even 2. Yeah.
So we're trying to figure out a way to make a blade that we can, not to replace the Tinker Hanway blade because we couldn't do that, but something similar that's ours that we can put out quick would be nice. There's just production issues. How do you do it? So
right.
We'll figure it out because we're thinking about it, but it takes time to figure that stuff out.
Absolutely.
One thing I noticed Valiant is putting out some Viking style or Anglo-Saxon style blades, and I've also been thinking about more of those lately too. I've only done a handful of them throughout my sword making career, but I've been thinking about them a bunch, so I might want to do another wide forward blade coming up. Have you guys thought about any of that? Or
I'm working on one right now.
Well, that's right. You are working on
We're both working on one right now.
Yeah.
Josh is just a little bit more ambitious than me, but
as I always do, I'm like, this has got to be huge and scary and really catch people's attention, and it will, but not before there's like a solid week or 2 of just putting me through absolute hell.
Yeah, it's gonna be like not before your back gives out, but whatever.
Yeah.
All my
Colton,
my arms. I don't need
grinder
my back for anything.
No, new grinder should be in this week. That's what he said.
Oh, this week.
So we shall.
Well,
see.
that'll help with different fuller shapes and sizes.
Oh yeah.
But you gotta do the horizontal grinding.
What?
You have to do the horizontal grinding though. It's a bit different to get used to.
I will figure that out.
You already know that, don't you?
Oh, we'll get there. It's gonna. No, I'm super excited. Like, I think I'm gonna have a kind of a little change up on what I've been like doing here. Just be like, whoa, I could do this now. Oh my gosh, I could do this now, and it's gonna be really exciting.
Yeah. So we need to get Josh one of those as well.
Yeah, we do.
I need to get one of those, and I need to get a lathe, so I can start carving out some interesting pommels.
Yeah,
I
haven't got on the lathe one yet.
Designs I've been doing.
I should start working with the lathe, but I think I can do most things without it. So
yeah, Matt Stagmer posted a video where he's like, "No lathe, no problem," and it's just him doing like a perfectly spherical copper on the grinder, just like approaching it all crazy.
Yeah, he's not human.
No,
no. He's a grinding machine. As when you watch Phil do cutting, he's a cutting machine. That's Matt on the grinder, right? It's a grinding machine.
The grinder and Matt's spirit are intertwined, so he knows exactly what it's going to look like as he's grinding it. He's already figured it out. He just has to go through the motions. And
I've watched him in person just grind something out. It's like, what?
Yeah. He's got so many interesting techniques. Chris Minges is another guy that's the very same. He's Peter Lyon's assistant out in Weta. And he did some kind of crazy grind on his linisher, and I messaged him. I was like, dude, that is insane. I hope I get that good, and he's just like, time's under the hood, man. You just keep effing up as much as you can so you know what to do and what not to do in the end. Yep. So
if you do, I guess this is for both you guys, if you do end up liking the broad fuller designs, then it'd be fun to try a very deep hologround blade, especially like a double-edged Type 18 hologround. Those would be cool. A lot of people love them. There's only a few on the market.
So pain in the ass, it looks like.
Yep.
Yep.
At least for me, they're a pain in the ass. So I usually don't like making them. And the ones that are on the market are really good. So I just leave that over there. And, but, I've thought about doing one again myself, just because I think my grinding has gotten better since the last time I tried one. But
yeah,
that's kind of what we talked about before. We like to buy swords from people that are designs we really, really like jive with. I just like buying that version of the thing I like to make, but also the ones we don't want to approach making. And hollow grinding is the same with me. I'm like, oh, I'd like to buy this other guy's hollow ground sword because I don't really want to try that.
Right. Yeah, both my main Albions are hollow ground 18s, which I don't want to make. So
I am still foolish enough to think that sounds fun because I haven't tried one yet. So I'm like, I got to at least try one.
Yeah, but it's you. You're like kin with Stagmer. You've got the grinder's blood in you. So you're gonna take to it like a duck to water pretty quick, man.
I probably need to try it on a dagger first. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Actually, be a good rondelle.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Should do.
Did you guys see the Roman find that came out? I don't know if it was last week or the week before.
Yeah.
That made me think about some more Roman blades because that's another very different design aesthetic and sword design in general. Definitely. And
I would love to do a Spada.
Yeah, I love Roman blades all around. I used to make a lot of them. I've only made like 4 or 5 in the last 5 years, but
they're on my bucket list. I'd like to make a couple. We'll see when it happens, but
yeah,
they're not planned in this next foreseeable future.
I have a giant chunk of walnut that was for some sort of massive flooring thing for some big castle they're building. I don't know where it came from, but it was a massive chunk of walnut, and I still have that same piece. And every one of my Gladius's walnut furniture has come from that same piece.
Nice.
So I still got about 3 feet left. It's 3 foot by about 4 inches thick by, I think 4 by 3. So it's a big chunk.
I was like, is that like are you like Ollivanders? You're like Harry's and Voldemort's wands. If those swords collide, it's gonna cause like weird clash problems. Sister swords.
But I just love working with walnut because when you seal it or put oil on it at the very end, it just pops like dark and pretty.
Most definitely. Walnut is definitely my like go-to wood choice.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, we're about at the hour, so I think any sword design stuff that we haven't covered yet. We haven't really talked about grip shapes.
Those have definitely changed.
She's waving.
Sorry, Colton. What was that?
Just grip shapes have definitely evolved for me in the last probably 2 or 3 years. Because they used to be a lot bigger. Now they're a lot more, I don't know, oblonged and more comfortable, at least for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mine have changed a lot. I can't exactly explain how, but they have.
Right.
I've gone as far as grips go. It's another one of those things where it went from I like this because it's easy to make, so I would go with oblong or like really quick squared off ones, just because I was like, yeah, I can get my hands around that. I'm done. I want to skip the process. And then it took a couple of diamond grinds and wasted grips to where I was like, ooh, that's really nice. And I went from doing like massively baseball bat grips with just like all a chunk on there to doing some of the smaller ones kind of on accident, where I was just like getting lost in grinding and just being like, okay, that looks perfect. Oh, it's a little too skinny. And, oh, well, it's going to be fine. And then feeling it actually fits in the hand very, very well. I like that a lot. So, I think weighted diamond grinds have been like, my bread and butter as far as swords go.
Well, and they're
you're doing really well.
Yeah. You have very
Remember I used to use... Oh, sorry.
I was just being dumbass. Continue.
Remember I used to use hickory on all my handles?
Yeah,
I used to start with a giant axe handle and just cut it down for all my swords.
I remember going to Home Depot with you and picking them out.
Yeah, no.
And then cutting them down on the horse saw.
Yep. I do love...
I was using that bandsaw and it just fell out from under me.
It happened. It still does.
Oh my gosh.
It'll occasionally just like
putting a saddle on it, so
yeah,
jamming a saddle and a 2x4 under it.
yeah. Hey, it still works. The wires
Yeah.
are like barely. I think they're held together with like tape and a staple or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
If something that substantial, yes.
Yeah.
Don't you
but
work
yeah,
for
there you go.
NASA?
I threw away
Yeah, I
mine
mean, so
the first day. The first day I ordered that Grizzly, bandsaw, I just chucked all the stand, or I chucked it, and Rusty, one of our guys on film set, was like, "You gonna use that?" I was like, "Hell no!" And then I just like C-clamped it to a thick ass table, and he turned
much
it.
better
I
idea.
think he turned it into a stand for one of his forges,
Oh, cool.
Oh,
a little propane forge.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a much better use for that stand.
100%, yes, absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, I still need that. I was always planning on doing that with that bandsaw, but I think by the time I get there, I'll have a new bandsaw.
There you go.
It's never gonna die, man. Like you.
Oh, it's
true.
It's a great bandsaw.
I've had that since I was 17, so
Right.
There
I don't
you
think
go.
it's going anywhere. Although honestly, the bearings for the top spindle something's wrong with them, because the spindle is not staying in one place anymore. It can shift into the cover or out of the cover, and it'll run into it, and it makes this awful sound when it does that. So it might actually be dying now. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I could just switch the bearings out, but I'll just buy a new one.
It's
Yeah.
by me.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, so for everyone watching, I hope this one was fun. I hope the video comes through. It has been choppy on my end, so we'll see if it comes through. Fingers crossed. So thanks, guys, for coming on tonight. We haven't been on in a while, but we definitely want to get more Sword Talk stuffs going. We do have a lot of events coming up. It's going into October. October is going to be busy for us. So
2 events.
two big events.
3, right?
That will be,
3.
but then we actually have 4, right? If we include
4.
Yeah, if we're
What?
going to show up to. These aren't events that we're going to have tables or booths at. No, well, that's only one.
We'll be
But if you go
there.
to Evermore,
yeah. This is more like catch us in public if you can.
yeah. So the 2 big ones are Blade Show West, which we don't have a booth at, but we will be there. We'll probably hang out with the Valiant Armory guys at their booth for the majority of the time.
Yeah. Them handsome subtle.
Yeah, shout out to those guys. And they're the ones who invited us, let us know about it. So it's great to hear. And I'm sad we actually didn't know about that last year.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the month, so that's the middle of October. At the end of October, we have what's the name of that tournament? I forgot.
Fright Fight.
Fright Fight, which is in Phoenix. I need to post some more links on that on our page. But that's going to be a lot of fun. Anytime you're in Phoenix with that whole crew, it is a great time. So I'm excited for that. Actually, I might be competing in that. I don't know. I need to check out if I have to actually sign up for anything. So that should be fun. Are you guys going to compete if beginners cutting or open cutting is there?
Maybe.
I'll compete in Josh's backyard.
Nice. I'll set it up.
There we go.
Me and Josh will just be like, take that, suckers.
Yep. Yeah. I'm going to get a bopper sword and just attack the shit out you while you try and cut through a watermelon or something.
Perfect. Okay. We'll
Awesome.
record it and not post it, just so you know.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Is that all 4 of them?
No,
I think
that was just the
3.
2 main ones, right? Because
Those are the 2 main ones. The other
Blade Show
2
West.
are at the same time as Blade Show West is Salt Lake Open. Due to some issues with the venue having, we'd like to be there, but the venue doesn't allow live blades this year, so that kind of rules us out. But we're hoping to stop by at least to say hi to everybody, because again, a great community, great crew there. Everyone there is fun, so hopefully we can stop by and say hi. And then the 4th one will be Evermore if we're there.
Yeah. Just goofing off and saying hi to those people. Always a
Yep.
fun time. Hey,
Yeah.
you know what's a good idea? We should design some swords and have each other critique them, and then offer our audience, all 4 of you or 7 or whatever the number may be. Hi, Mom. Thanks. If y'all want to design some swords and send them in for us to critique, you can send in something awesome and we'll chat about it. We're not going to use them or mass produce them or anything like that. Nothing. We don't want to.
Yeah, we want to do a fun video on sword design in general.
Yeah. You can design
original ideas.
Yeah, send in all your ideas.
Draw a cross section with just the dick and with an edge on it, and a ball's cross guard, and I'll critique that.
Yeah,
you will.
Yeah, so if you do have an idea like that and a sketch or anything, or even maybe if you've made one before, shoot them over to find us on Facebook. Actually, if you're watching us, I think you probably know where we're at on Facebook. So send us an email or a text, with that design.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Really fun. It'll give us something so we're not like 5 minutes before show being like, what the hell are we going to talk about?
Hopefully, with all these events coming up, we're going to have a lot to talk about. And we have a whole lot of blades about to come out of heat treats. So we're going to have a lot to talk about there.
Oh, yeah.
Or are we going to be too busy grinding them?
Or we're going to be too busy working, right? Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Crap.
Because
for a lot of these things coming.
Yeah, so right when we get back from Phoenix and the Fright Fight, then the next weekend is Sarasota, and that medieval fair lasts all through November. And I'm hoping these guys will be able to come down for a little bit. So
doesn't it Hogtown happen pretty soon after that?
Hogtown we have an issue with Hogtown this year. It overlaps directly with Valley of the Sun this year.
Oh.
Yeah, so last year everything was kind of just missing each other.
Right, yeah.
This year they're overlapping. So it's like, so we got to make some decisions.
Valley of the Sun is awful convenient.
It is.
And
it's great. Yeah. So, we'll see. We'll talk about that offline just to figure out what we're going to do. It sucks they overlap. But it is what it is.
It seems to be the case these days. I'm sure we've talked about that, where it's just maddening that Renaissance fairs are just, I don't know if it's purposely overlapping to where vendors as well as patrons are kind of forced to choose who they want to see, what they want to do.
Right. These are across the country, so we can't really blame them, but it's still tough for us. We got to make a decision.
Yeah, we'd love to do everything.
We
That'd
would.
be nice.
Yeah. So, alrighty. Well, thanks guys for coming on, and anything else you guys want to cover before we jump off? Oh, we got to do a sword trivia soon. Who's next?
Oh yeah.
Is Colton gonna run?
Colton.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No. Okay, back to you, Josh.
Happy to oblige.
Yeah.
It's going to get weird.
Yeah.
No. Easier than last time.
Maybe I'll do a trivia one that's like swords from the past. Like I'll find pictures of a Century Martial Arts catalog or an old Bud K and just sample them and be like, do you remember this sword? Do you remember how much it was? That kind of deal. I remember getting Century magazines and looking at the same like bullshit barbarian swords and knockoff Highlanders and just being like, oh my God.
Did you get Noble Collection?
Nope.
That was where all like the Marteau Toledo blades were at.
Oh man, Marteau Toledo.
I used to get that. I used to rush to the mail when that came in.
Oh my God. Yeah, that Museum Replicas Limited.
Yep. So Museum Replicas, came out shortly after that the Noble Collection stuff started. So yeah, it was cool.
All I ever got was Bud K.
Bud K catalog, man.
Yeah.
I never knew I needed ninja swords, blow guns, and climbing claws, and I could order them all for $100.
Yep. Right. Yeah.
Dangerous.
Oh, ninja outfit.
Yep. Yeah. And a new outfit.
Awesome. Alrighty.
Okay.
Alrighty. Well, thanks, guys. Real quick, I'm Chris. And you can find us at Sterling Armory on Facebook and Instagram. Soon to be a website.
Soon to be a website.
Soon to be a website.
Probably.
17 years later. Continuing.
Yep. I'm Joshua Von Warbear. You can find me on Facebook. Joshua Von Warbear, or you can find me on Instagram at Warbear_Armory. Feel free to follow, like, subscribe, shoot me a message, just digitally hang out with me if you're ever in Phoenix. You want a shop tour, which will take all of 2 minutes, and then just bring some slabs of medium rare meat. That's another thing. In Renaissance Fair, I did a post with medium rare meat. Huh?
We didn't even talk about the Utah Renaissance Fair.
Oh, it was great. Just
it was
a quick
great.
it was awesome.
We didn't, did we?
Sunburnt. What an idiot.
No, we didn't talk. I didn't realize. Yeah, we should have had a follow up right after that, and we didn't do it.
Yep.
Hey, it was a really fun time as always.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sad I missed it.
Loved having us. We were sad you weren't there. You would have loved it, man. We had a great time.
What about you working for meat?
Yeah, basically, you know me. I get drunk and then I post on Facebook or Instagram like, if anybody wants a discount on swords, bring me medium rare steak. And I had probably 3 or 4 people show up with brisket and Texas Roadhouse sirloins.
Hey, there you go, Texas Roadhouse. That's it.
Oh, so many, of all the things in the world that make me happy, that's probably one of the best ones.
That was my birthday dinner.
Growing up with meat.
Okay.
Well,
I am Colton of Copperthorn Customs. You can find me Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Copperthorn Customs, and at Sterling Armory, Facebook, Instagram, and soon to be website. So
there you go. See,
started slurring that a little bit. That's too big of a mouthful for me. I don't have that fast of a mouth.
Yeah. If you guys have been watching this long, thanks for hanging with us, and you guys are awesome. And reach out to us, comment below. Please like and share. I always forget to say that. And let us know if there's any sword talk topics that you guys want us to cover, and we'll be excited to do it. So
send us some fun drawings.
That's right. Yeah, send us some drawings.
Yeah.
And, until next time, guys. All right.
Stay sharp.
Stay sharp. Clean your peen. Wait. That's not right.
Wait.
Whoa.